Welcome to The Deprogrammer. This is your host, Ari Stone. Today, I will be reading to you my February 21st, 2020 court-filed documents about the various CIA mind control programs, patented frequency technologies, and will lightly touch on neuroscience as they all relate to Corey Goode and our dream state interactions. Now, many people have been very prejudiced against me for my dream situation with Corey Goode. However, in this video, you will see the legal evidence of how the CIA mind control programs essentially hack the brain dream states, known predominantly as the theta and delta states, with some alpha states mixed in. In short, the brain is an electrochemical organ, and these covert CIA programs have essentially hacked consciousness by the implementation of electrical frequencies. So get ready. In this video, I will be showing you how James Corey Goode is likely a mind-controlled CIA asset, by what I filed on the court record, along with showing you the attached exhibits that will also reveal David Wilcock as likely being mind-controlled as well. I give a warm thank you to Daniel James of the Warped Podcast YouTube channel for his excellent investigative research on David Wilcock and publicly sharing a key bit of evidence. If you would like to see some of my dream vision evidence, legal proof of my abilities, and as filed on the court record, please visit my website at the link provided below, and you can download those records. All right, let's begin. Fifth information for the court: CIA evidence, Senate hearings, CIA records, remote viewing, remote influencing, dream states, and psychokinesis research as compared to defendant public claims and plaintiff dream experiences submitted for legal investigation purposes. Plaintiff Alyssa Christie Montalbano presents the following as further evidence in support of her legal claims, as filed in August 2, 2019 amended complaint and attached filings, and the legitimate involvement of dreams, dreamlike states, and other similar states of consciousness as they relate to science, technology, and the exploration thereof by various departments of the state, notably pioneered by the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, and DoD, Department of Defense, and presents the following as evidence in further support of moving the case into investigation in order to discover if plaintiff Alyssa Christie Montalbano is an unwitting victim/test subject of an ongoing covert CIA MKUltra dream-based mind control program involving defendant James Corey Goode, and for which the evidence suggests an affirmative answer, and for which must be legally addressed and investigated in order to find out exactly what is occurring. Dream vision, another occurrence. 1. Plaintiff submits as another sample dream vision for the record as further evidence of plaintiff's unusual abilities, trade secret, a dream documented on February 2, 2020, a redacted version of Kay's Barf Gets on My Toes. In the dream, the defendant and his wife visit plaintiff. They are again in disguise as plaintiff's waking state brother and wife. In very short, in the dream, Mrs. Goode is sick with the flu, and Mr. Goode sends her into plaintiff's room, and she throws up in plaintiff's bed. In waking states, 7 days later, February 9th of 2020, Mr. Goode publicly tweeted he and his wife had all been, down hard with the flu, and still weren't fully recovered. At no time did Mr. Goode or Mrs. Goode contact plaintiff to tell her this outside of dream states. See Exhibit BB, Sample DV20. CIA, government, military, and prestigious scientific research in the fields of dreams, telepathy, ESP, and PSI. Our government, military, and the scientific community, in particular with neuroscience and electronics, take dreams and dreamlike states extremely seriously. Plaintiff expects the same of this government-funded court. The following programs and associated research were/are top secret CIA or otherwise intelligence agency programs exploring and utilizing illicit means for mind control, also known as behavior modification or interrogation, remote influence, RI, remote viewing, RV, psychic warfare, dream cognition, psychokinesis, or PK, and otherwise full consciousness control of a target or person. Due to the covert nature of these programs, many are likely still in operation today under different names or branches of the government that haven't yet been discovered as they continue exploratory, illicit mind control research. It is believed that the defendant is still a victim of the MKUltra mind control programs he alleges being in from childhood, and somehow plaintiff is involved via dream states. The evidence of over 1,000 documented and detailed dreams, and now estimated to be well over 2,000 and growing nightly, and the subsequent matching or similar waking state occurrence is what brought this claim before this court, a government entity, and the court is required by law to address the evidence and provide legal protection where due. The following documents are still being researched by plaintiff, but are submitted herewith so that the courts may have on this record an awareness of how serious the United States government, science and military services take dreams and consciousness cognition research, notably for warfare and improper mind control purposes. The United States government and military do not consider dreams, psychokinesis, ESP, and other similar PSI research frivolous, and this court is also to take this matter just as seriously, especially in light of the vast amount of evidence, dream data, plaintiff has in relation to precognition and dreams, and the government's deep interest in such matters and people with such abilities. For all the cited CIA and government records herein, see the attached exhibit disc for full document records and for YouTube video clips of the defendant and his dream researcher associate, Mr. David Wilcock. Government programs. 1. Senate hearings MKUltra. See Exhibit BC, Senate hearings MKUltra, 1977. Hearing document cover title, Seek, Project MKUltra, the CIA's Program of Research and Behavioral Modification, joint hearing before the Select Committee of Intelligence and the Subcommittee of Health and Scientific Research of the Committee of Human Resources, Senate 95th Congress, August 3, 1977. The main purpose to the hearing was to address the MKUltra mind control programs that came to light within the CIA, DoD, and HEW involvement. The hearing sought to address the illicit and covert use of drugs, notably LSD, with the unethical nature of the programs for behavior modification and interrogation, aka mind control. The hearing sought to implement statutory and otherwise remedies for victims of the MKUltra programs, which likely still include the defendant as someone in need of remedy. These illicit experiments were performed on both animals and humans. The Senate hearing cited those who are/were victims of the programs deserve to have protection from being experimented on. See Exhibit BC, page 4 of hearings at paragraph 4. And also had the right to know they were being experimented on. See Exhibit BC, page 3, paragraph 8. On page 3, paragraph 4, it is stated that the program was far more extensive than originally thought, and that there were 86 known universities and institutions involved. This clearly shows this was not a small project of mind control research. MKUltra most notably used illicit drugs to create altered states of mind in conjunction with hypnosis. On page 169 of the Senate hearing section titled Materials for the Record MK Search Often/Chickwit, it states in paragraph 1, its purpose was to develop, test, and evaluate capabilities in the covert use of biological, chemical, and radioactive material systems and techniques for producing predictable human behavior and/or psychological changes in support of highly sensitive operational requirements. Emphasis added. On page 171 of the Senate hearing document section titled QK Hilltop Definition, they state, Seek. QK Hilltop was a cryptonym assigned in 1954 to a project to study Chinese communist brainwashing techniques and to develop interrogation techniques. Emphasis added. Interrogation is a common term used in these programs for mind control exploration teams, interrogation teams, and is very notably seen in CIA Project Bluebird. See Exhibit AK Project Bluebird, filed February 27, 2019, page 2 at paragraph 3 and page 18 of 29. Mr. Goode also publicly claims being a part of interrogation programs. See Exhibit BO, Corey Goode, SBA, page 2 of 2, Interrogation Program. On page 171 of MKUltra Senate hearing, it goes on to state these Chinese brainwashing techniques were absorbed into the MKUltra program. Emphasis added. In short, these snippets from the hearing affirm the covert use of illicit drugs and other methods used to induce states of mind control that are referred to on page 169, section titled Material for the Record MK Search, often/Chickwit at paragraph 1 as predictable human behavior and or psychological changes. 2. Illicit drugs. Defendant. In attached Exhibit BN, Corey Goode alleged mega update on page 7 of 24, section titled The Elixir of ISIS. The defendant states he is given the elixir of ISIS, essentially a mind-altering drug, possibly LSD. He describes a type of ritual being performed that he is to repeat before he drinks the mind-altering substance. The defendant presents this illicit experience to the public as if he is with a beautiful female alien, and as if it is something to be desired. This is more realistically the defendant being drugged by CIA agents still operating undisclosed MKUltra mind control programs where the defendant is drugged, and likely hypnotized to think he's with aliens. Again, recall this is the purpose of the MILAB or military abduction section of the MKUltra mind control program, and that the defendant also claims being in, and as needs to be legally investigated. The defendant is famous for his claim of going off-world with 8-foot-plus tall bluebirds and talking with them in dream or dreamlike states. See Exhibit BN, page 7 and 11 of 24, and Exhibit BO, page 1 of 2. His public stories and alien experiences fit more with CIA Project Bluebird, Exhibit AK, filed February 27, 2019. 3. RA, or RAW, Remote Action Defendant. In this same section of the defendant's article, Exhibit BN, page 7 of 24, section titled The Elixir of ISIS, he also allegedly cites the raw materials, which he claims are the religious raw teachings of love and light, teachings understood to be channeled in by a woman with severe mental health issues and brain trauma. However, a common thread with Mr. Goode's alleged spiritual teachings, or alleged secret space program whistleblowing, or alleged alien experiences, is that he uses many terms that are associated with declassified CIA mind control programs and the scientific research divisions of the United States government and military, notably neuroscience research, and whereby Mr. Goode changes his story for the public so it appears to have a different meaning. See number 18 below, such as Ra, which he claims is about the law of one religion, which in fact the defendant's experiences and teachings fits more with RA in the CIA mind control programs, which stands for remote action, which is associated with remote viewing and remote influencing and remote controlling another person through telepathy, which he and his alleged alien friends do via dreamlike states. These alien friends are more realistically other CIA assets and or interrogators for illicit public mind control experimentation purposes. 4. CIA document Remote Action in Department of Defense Government Program, Exhibit BD, CIA DoD Psychoenergetics Program Replication Studies. In DoD Psychoenergetics Program Replication Studies S, as prepared for the Defense Intelligence Agency, or DIA, February of 1984, it states about remote action on page 1 at B2 the following. Seek. 2. Remote action. RA. Psychokinesis PK. mental ability to influence physical or biological systems without the use of known physical mechanisms. Examples include perturbation of electronic components or living organisms, such as behavior of a microchip or the growth of a bacterial culture by a mental effort of will. Emphasis added. The same top-secret document also states on the same page at letter A DoD Psychoenergetics Program S/NF, major DoD/intelligence community interest in assessing the potential of psychoenergetics, ESP, for military/intelligence applications began a little over a decade ago, 1972, and has involved a number of agencies and military units as sponsors. Emphasis added. See Exhibit BD, page 1. Here and throughout this CIA document, we see various departments of the state interested in ESP for militaristic use, to include the United States Department of Defense, Defense Intelligence Agency, the military, CIA, Intelligence Community, Stanford Research Institute, SRI International for remote viewing, Princeton University, University of California at Davis, and Langley Porter Neuropsychiatric Institute, amidst many other government entities and prestigious research and science centers for the United States of America. All are interested in furthering the research and development of ESP and remote viewing, RV, and remote action, RA, for militaristic or otherwise uses such as mind control. 5. CIA Document Section 4, Telepathic Behavior Modification. See Exhibit BE, Telepathic Behavior Modification. In this CIA document, on page 29, Section 4, Part B, Paragraph 1, it states, Seek. Vasilev concluded that mental suggestion involving hypnosis would provide the most fruitful results. And in Section 4, Part B, Paragraph 2, Seek. According to Ostrander and Schroeder, the ability to telepathically produce sleep-wake states, or obliteration of one's consciousness, from a distance of a few meters to over 1,000 kilometers became the most thoroughly tested and perfected Soviet contribution to international parapsychology. Here, the CIA has declassified a program stating they could obliterate one's consciousness telepathically via sleep-wake states from thousands of kilometers away, and that this was a perfected process. The document goes on to say on page 30 at paragraph 1 that they work with EEG, electroencephalograms, in order to record these changes, to wit, EEG recordings changed dramatically when the telepathic impulse contained a message affecting human emotions. Transmissions of several successive emotions of a negative character elicited the appearance of cross-excitation of the brain. It changed the spontaneous EEG character to the tired state of the brain, dominated by slow, hypersynchronized waves of the delta and theta type. And Pavlova, Sergeyev, and Naumov uncovered impressive data on the power of thought and concluded that a person doesn't even have to conjure up his own nasty thoughts. Someone else can do it and telepathically transmit to him. And since leukocytes are one of the body's main defense mechanisms against disease, such a telepathically imposed shift in cell count could be used in altering human health. Here, they're able to interfere with normal brainwave activity in order to place a subject into a sleep-wake state, in order to obliterate their consciousness by sending negative messages and nasty thoughts telepathically to create negative states of emotion, coupled with electromagnetic radio frequency emissions and hypnotic suggestions, which in turn reduced neural activity and placed the targeted subject into a delta or theta sleep-wake state of consciousness, and that also reduced white blood cell count in the body to create ill health. This is important to note, as slowed neural or brain activities frequency/oscillation/hertz correlate to neuroscience and patented frequency technology, and the brain can then be manipulated to hallucinate and can essentially induce a state of dementia, which the defendant claims to have. See Exhibit BQ, Cosmic Disclosure, Season 7, Episode 28, and Exhibit BP, Cause DC-1404807, and James Goode transcription of YouTube video, page 5 and 8. Dementia is mentioned in SRI Project 1291 titled Neurophysiological Correlates to Remote Viewing. See Exhibit BG, page 2, paragraph 1. And dementia is something that can be determined through MEG, or magnetoencephalography, scans which use magnetic fields to determine neural activity or the lack thereof. See number 18 below. Chart of terms used by defendant match neuroscience. Defendant claims being placed in high magnetic fields allegedly for his secret space program SSP, which is more likely Scientific Services Program SSP, travels, and how those in the room performing the experiments on him wear protective suits so as not to be impacted by the electromagnetic frequencies being used. Watch again Exhibit BQ, Cosmic Disclosure, Season 7, Episode 28, clip timestamp 10 minutes and 45 seconds to 11 minutes and 50 seconds to hear Mr. Goode say it.
To kind of distract you and throw you off. So they'll use disclosure as a way of distraction and manipulation as well.
Is there a limit to how many times you could send someone back in time before certain inescapable health consequences or other things would take place?
Definitely, especially with the early technologies. Such high electromagnetic fields are used that even when people that spend 20 years in the space program, being within those high electromagnetic fields, they have a lot of side effects. Temporal dementia, different types of neurological issues, weird numbness. There are a number of issues that occur from being inside those magnetic fields. So, yes, if you're sent using the technology, especially that they used to use a long time ago, sending you back in time over and over would be like being on working in the engine room of one of these torsion drives. It's they wear these Faraday suits that are like a metal mesh that go all the way over them when they're in these. So yeah, it's very detrimental to the neurological system.
In the simplest of terms, the brain is an electrochemical organ, and very simply put, it is like a radio transmitter/receiver and is readily impacted by other similar foreign transmissions or frequencies/hertz, which in turn impact the body's physiology, aka biochemistry and nervous system. The Telepathic Behavior Modification CIA article goes on to say in paragraph 2 of page 30, seek, the emphasis on manipulation by means of telepathy still involves the use of hypnotism. Here, like in CIA Project Bluebird, see Exhibit AK, Project Bluebird, page 2 of 29, the program cites using hypnotism and a hypnotist. This is a technique utilized regularly for mind control programs, or as they like to put it, interrogation purposes, and is worked in conjunction with neuroscience and the application of foreign electrical frequencies measured in units called hertz. The brain's electrical frequencies are called oscillations and are also measured in hertz. Hypnosis works with specific sections of the brain and cortices, the same sections of the brain the defendant complains having issues with, and the same specific types of frequencies utilized and seen in the patented technologies below. See number 6 and number 7, this document. The third paragraph on page 30 states the following. Dr. Stefan Manczarski of Poland predicted that the field of telepathy will open new avenues for spreading propaganda. He feels that the electromagnetic theory is valid and believes, therefore, that telepathy can be amplified like radio waves. Telepathy would then become a subtle new modus for the influencers of the world. It then states in the last sentence, the subliminal message could be carried by television signals or by telepathic means. These are very important statements that these subliminal messages and signals can be broadcast like radio waves and via television signals, as this accomplishment is seen in the following two selected nervous system manipulation patents. On page 31, it states, control and manipulation of the human consciousness must be considered a primary goal. This exact same agenda and phrasing is seen again in a report for the Defense Intelligence Agency, also dated September of 1975. See number 16, this document, Exhibit BM at page 34, paragraph 1. 6. United States Patent US 6506148 B2. Nervous system manipulation by electromagnetic fields from monitors. See Exhibit BF, U.S. Patents, Hendrikus Luz. This television or telepathic signal transmission has been accomplished and made public knowledge via multiple patents. But of most note is U.S. Patent number US 6506148 B2, obtained July of 2001 by Hendrikus Luz, titled Nervous System Manipulation by Electromagnetic Fields from Monitors. This patent specifically shows our televisions and computer monitors being used for behavior modification, with low Hertz frequencies being utilized to accomplish the goal. Mr. Luz has obtained multiple patents for brain or neural and nervous system manipulations, and has written scientific and mathematical papers sponsored by the Department Advanced Research Project Agency, DoD or DARPA. See Exhibit BF, cover page, Quadratic Hadamard Memories 2, dated November 29th of 1990. Without getting extensively into neuroscience and the mechanics of the brain, and in particular how it relates to the defendant and his mental health claims of temporal dementia, aphasia, brain trauma, CPTSD, and epilepsy, these behavior modifications are accomplished through pulsing specific frequencies to the brain with subliminal messages, hypnosis. Just as stated above in the telepathic behavior modification program, see number 5. The theta ranges typically oscillate from 4 Hz to 8 Hz and are associated with REM or rapid eye movement sleep, dream states. The delta range oscillates below 4 Hz and are associated with dreamless sleep states. These Hertz ranges are utilized with hypnosis and the broadcasting of frequencies for behavior modification purposes. They can be used to harm or help. The frequency ranges notably utilized in Hendrikus Luz's patents for excitation of sensory resonance are 0.5 Hz to 4 Hz. This is predominantly the delta state of the brain's oscillations and overlaps into the low Hertz ranges of the theta states, and appears to be the same frequencies that place the target into a sleep-wake state for consciousness obliteration. 7. United States Patent 6017302A, Subliminal Acoustic Manipulation of Nervous Systems. See Exhibit BF, U.S. Patents, Hendrikus Luz. There is one other key frequency patent also obtained by Hendrikus Luz to take note of in conjunction with subliminal broadcast of messages cited in the above telepathic behavior modification project at number 5. And that is United States Patent 6017302A, obtained in 1997, titled Subliminal Acoustic Manipulation of Nervous Systems. This particular patent is often referred to as V2K, or Voice to Skull, or Voice of God technology, which means the frequencies utilized with this patent can broadcast voices directly to the auditory network of the targeted individual's, or TI, brain, where the target may think that God is talking to them because they are being radio broadcast to. Again, in the simplest of terms, with the radio analogy, each human brain is like a separate radio channel, and just as we can tune a radio to one particular music or news radio station, it is the same with the brain, which is why one person may hear the voice or voices broadcast and not the person next to them. This particular patent notably uses 0.5 Hz to 2.5 Hz, which are again the delta sleep state ranges, and again affirming the telepathic behavior modification program of obliteration of consciousness through the use of electromagnetic fields to place one in a sleep-wake state by altering the brain's native oscillations. Eight. Electric sensors and devices in home. Defendant. See Exhibit BM, page 12 of 24, at section titled A Community of Retired Personnel. In Mr. Goode's alleged Mega Update article posted online January 12th of 2018 of his alleged off-world alien experiences from December 16th of 2017, the same date of the marriage dream he uses to publicly defame plaintiff with, he states on page 12 of 24 that he is being monitored in his own home with sensors and devices. Seek. I was told many sensors and devices have been placed around my home to monitor any types of energetic or atmospheric changes that occur when I am visited or picked up by off-world groups. In the telepathic behavior modification program dated September of 1975, see number 5 and Exhibit BE at page 30, they use devices and sensors, in particular EEG, to determine consciousness changes. MEG, or magnetoencephalography, is also used to determine if one has dementia or epilepsy, such as Mr. Goode claims to have, see number 9 below. If there are actual devices around Mr. Goode's home, they are likely to monitor his brainwave states and neural activity to see how effective the mind control program experiments being used on him are, and that are clearly harming him and his brain or neural activity in the process, so much so he complains of brain trauma in 2014. See Exhibit BP at James Goode, transcription of YouTube video, page 5, line 9. And for which must be legally investigated to determine if these things are actually occurring to Mr. Goode, and if so, they must be legally addressed, as no proper remedy can be awarded to plaintiff without first determining if Mr. Goode is still an ongoing victim of the MKUltra mind control programs. And if he is, then he is to be afforded the remedy the Senate hearings were implemented to grant to the victims of the programs. And if it should also be determined through investigation that plaintiff is also a victim of the programs as a non-consensual test subject targeted by Mr. Goode, as the evidence suggests, then that must also be legally addressed for remedy. Both plaintiff and the defendant clearly have unusual experiences occurring that most likely involve a covert, ongoing, illicit MKUltra mind control experiment program, and both have the right to legally investigate what is happening to them and to be protected from such assaults if it is determined there is foul play. 9. CIA document Neurophysiological correlates to remote viewing. See Exhibit BG. Neurophysiological correlates to remote viewing. This document hasn't been reviewed extensively by plaintiff. However, in SRI, Stanford Research Institute for Remote Viewing of Targets, Project 1291, they are exploring the manipulations of the nervous system as it relates to remote viewing, or RV. They use in particular the 10 Hz frequency range in an experiment. See Exhibit BG, page 4, list of figures at number 11, which is associated with the alpha state of the brain, awake but drowsy state. This is noteworthy as 10 Hz is also utilized in the nervous system manipulations by electromagnetic fields from monitors in the U.S. patent addressed in number 6. See Exhibit BF, U.S. 6506148B2, section titled Background of the Invention in paragraph 1. In the neurological correlates to remote viewing on document page 1, it deals with the history of central nervous system correlates to psychoenergetic functioning. and the project is about the central nervous system, CNS, responses to remote stimulus. They also cite using MEG, or magnetoencephalography, technology to monitor neural activity and responses to light stimulations at 16 Hz, again tying neuroscience and neurostates to nervous system states and co-manipulations thereof. 10. Neuroscience. See Exhibit BH. TMS therapy. Depression is a brain disease. Without going extensively into neuroscience as it relates to the defendant and his mental health claims of dementia, aphasia, CPTSD, brain trauma, eye retinal detachment, and epilepsy, and as will need to be investigated via professional neural scans to determine if the defendant has all the mental health issues he claims, it is noteworthy to cite that common neuroscans show depression as being a neurological brain disorder. According to wellingtonretreat.com/TMS, an article titled TMS Therapy at Wellington Retreat, a non-drug depression therapy that is proven safe and effective across a broad range of treatment resistance, it states, Seek. Transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS, is a non-invasive procedure that uses magnetic fields to stimulate nerve cells in the brain to improve symptoms of depression. TMS is typically used when other depression treatments haven't been effective. This shows a professional company using electromagnetic fields to stimulate the brain to have more neural activity in areas that are not properly oscillating. In short, they are using frequency induction to the brain for positive purposes to heal the depressed individual and stimulate electrical firing by the neurons in the affected areas. This article also provides a PET, or positron emission tomography scan, of a brain that is depressed versus one that is not depressed. It can easily be seen that a properly functioning brain has more electrically active areas than a depressed brain. See Exhibit BH. In most mental or emotional diseases, there appears to be a neural correlation that shows a lack of activity in various sectors of the brain that in turn cause the mental health issues or other lack of emotional connectivity within the subject. Dementia is particularly noteworthy of being responsible for inappropriate social behaviors and lack of empathy when the associated sectors of the brain are damaged. With this knowledge that things like depression are considered a neural disorder, it then sheds light on number 5 above. See Exhibit BE at page 30, paragraph 1, where part of achieving consciousness obliteration is through the use of negative emotions that cause cross-excitation of the brain, which in turn reduce neural activity to more of a tired delta-theta state and is coupled with the electromagnetic theory. See Exhibit BE at page 30, paragraph 3, and radio waves applied on the targeted person made them ready to be obliterated with telepathic behavior modification, which has been thoroughly tested and perfected by the Soviets. See Exhibit BE at page 30, paragraph 1, which is basically a fancy way of saying using electromagnetic and radio or Hertz frequencies to mess with someone's brain, neural radio wave states, to slow the brain's oscillations or Hertz, so the subject is in an altered state due to their brain state being changed. With respect to the matters involving neuroscience, and in particular as they relate to the defendant and this instant case, neural scans will need to be performed on the defendant to determine his actual brain states, coupled with professional testimony from the neuroscientist regarding his mental health conditions and behavioral impacts and implications thereof. 11. CIA report, Anomalous Cognition in Lucid Dreams. Exhibit BI, Anomalous Cognition in Lucid Dreams, dated December 20th, 1991. The portions of this document that plaintiff has read predominantly deal with research to determine the connections between brain states and REM, or rapid eye movement, as it relates to lucid dreaming, becoming aware in the dream that one is dreaming, in comparison to non-lucid dreaming brain states, unaware one is in a dream, and as it relates to anomalous cognition in lucid dreams. In short, In one of the experiments, the test subjects were to perform certain activities inside dream states when they became lucid, such as performing the Morse code spelling of their name through a series of left-hand squeezes and then right-hand squeezes within the dream that would then be measured with electronic devices on their physical body. See Exhibit BI, page 729. It was determined that there were correlations in REM and lucid dream states with the alpha, awake, relaxed state, 10 Hz frequency, and connectivity with the temporal lobes, and that alpha states were normal during REM. See Exhibit BI, page 730, paragraph 2 through 4, and article Parapsychology of Lucid Dreaming, section titled EEG, Alpha Activity During REM Lucid Dreams, page 144, 146, and 150. The temporal lobes are extremely important because the defendant claims having temporal dementia. The temporal lobes and temporal poles in the brain are associated with the auditory networks. The auditory networks are associated with hallucinations in dementia and schizophrenic patients, and they are the same networks that the patented frequency technologies above excite, which in turn can cause hallucinations, such as 8-foot-tall bluebirds and aliens, like the defendant claims seeing and interacting with. The temporal lobes are also interconnected with the sections of the brain utilized for hypnotic suggestion, the insula, which again ties back into the telepathic behavior modification seen in number 5 above, that is carried on the same Hertz frequencies to obliterate a person's consciousness, and as seen in the U.S. patents in Exhibit BF. To continue with the obliteration line of thought, additional findings of note in relation to the other cited documents and patented research herein and the defendant's mental health claims is that lucid dreaming and non-lucid dreaming occurred in the 2 Hz to 4 Hz or delta frequencies. See Exhibit BI, page 730, paragraph 3, and again at 8 Hz to 10 Hz alpha frequencies. See Exhibit BI, article Psychophysiology of Lucid Dreaming, section titled EEG Alpha Activity During REM Lucid Dreams, page 144. These frequencies are again important to note as they are the same frequencies that the 2 mentioned patents at number 6 and number 7 above and Exhibit BF broadcast within in order to perform nervous system manipulations, and are the same telepathic behavior modification frequencies used for obliterating someone's original consciousness through producing sleep-wake states with the brain, which then impacts the rate at which the brain oscillates, and thereby also the chemicals produced within the body. See number 5. 12. Sleep-wake state hallucinations, temporal dementia. Defendant. See Exhibit BN, Corey Goode, alleged mega update. In the defendant's alleged mega update, he states on page 11 of 24 in section title, The Blue Avians Returning to Their Native Density, that the, blue avians would no longer manifest physically in our reality. Instead, they would be in frequent contact with us through our dreams. He stated that each of us are doing important dream work and training with others on our planet. We should expect that this will increase dramatically. Every night we are in classrooms full of astral students. We have been doing this dream work since becoming delegates, and our higher selves have been shielding us from remembering too many details. And on page 3 of 24, while sitting around in a circle of the egg-shaped chairs learning to access their neural networks. With respect to all the aforementioned mind control programs, this and bits of neuroscience experiments, this is more realistically a CIA telepathic behavior modification group of humans or agents intentionally invading dream states of consciousness with frequency technology, and whereby they are seeking to obliterate recall of what they are doing to the targeted individuals, which is allegedly our higher selves shielding the victims from recalling what is being done. If the defendant's alleged mega update is not just a completely made-up fairy tale derivative work story by the defendant, see pre-litigation affidavit complaint, pages 8 through page 20 of 48, filed with amended complaint August 2nd of 2019, then he is openly stating he and his group of aliens, likely CIA agents, interrogators, are intentionally messing with people's dream or neural network states and are blocking recall in most victims. 13. CIA document Psychic Warfare Exploring the Mind Frontier, Exhibit BJ Psychic Warfare. This report was written for the United States Air Force, Air War College, Air University. From the portions plaintiff has read, this largely appears to be a dissertation to convince the faculty of the value of PSI, or psychic and similar type warfare and abilities. See Exhibit BJ, page 4 through page 5, section titled Defining Parapsychology. This report was written in 1988, and the author seems unaware of the other illicit and successful programs already in operation via the CIA many years prior this paper, and for which the Senate already had a hearing for MKUltra in 1977. This shows the covert nature of these illicit programs even within the government's own faculties. It is of interest to note on page 35, paragraph 3, the following is stated. World-famous psychic Edgar I. Cayce advised General John Pershing and accompanied him on European missions. And on page 36, it states that Congressman Charlie Rose, member of the House Select Committee of Intelligence, takes psychic weapons seriously and thinks the technology should be built on, and states, seek. The congressman's personal experience has convinced him such breakthroughs are on the horizon. He has attended classified demonstrations of remote viewing arranged by the CIA. Says Rose, I've seen some incredible examples of remote viewing, so much so that I think we ought to pay close attention to developments in this field, and especially to what the Soviets are doing. If they develop a capacity to have people mentally view secret centers within this country, we could come to the point where we didn't have any secrets. This is important to note because Mr. Goode's close associate, Mr. David Wilcock, a fraud dream psychic and of grave concern to be using plaintiff's research in his coming book, Awakening in the Dream, publicly claims he is Edgar Cayce, reincarnated, because he looks similar to the guy. If that is all that is required to make a claim of such nature, then plaintiff is Nikola Tesla, reincarnated due to similar facial features when placed side by side. Mr. Wilcock also regularly claims he's given dream readings to people. Yet, plaintiff has never heard a single person say they had a reading with him at any time, let alone an accurate one. This shows another level of Mr. Goode and Mr. Wilcock's public dream teaching frauds. Legitimate dream research, such as that which plaintiff possesses, has evidence, just like science does to back it. Additionally, in the defendant's alleged mega update, Mr. Wilcock states, seek. DW. Some of what he received was personal for me. I found it incredibly interesting, and it has completely changed how I am writing Awakening in the Dream. See Exhibit BN, page 3 of 24. This is important to note for two reasons. One, plaintiff sent vast amounts of dream vision information about Mr. Wilcock to Mr. Goode during 2017. See Exhibit Pre-Litigation Affidavit Complaint at page 24 of 48, filed August 2, 2019. 2. Mr. Wilcock is alleging this information came from the defendant's alien friends, more likely CIA agents practicing telepathic behavior modification, see number 5, and how this telepathic information changed how he is writing his dream book. This is key to note, as Mr. Wilcock is very scared and crying in 2011 on a radio show about having received a death threat, and he was worried about being abducted by the military or other similar deep state interests, and having narco-hypnosis, drugs and hypnosis, performed on him. See number 14 below. It is also important to note, Mr. Wilcock states he's been doing dream recall research since September 21st of 1992, and in November 1996 began doing remote viewing protocols and having telepathic communications. See Exhibit BR Video Cosmic Disclosure Season 7 Episode 4, 1 minute and 40 seconds through 2 minutes and 25 seconds.
All right, welcome back to Cosmic Disclosure. I'm your host, David Wilcock. I'm here with Corey Goode. And in this episode, we're going to get into the negative groups and their influence on channeling.
It's because the ego distortion that people have. People get Christ complexes, start feeling like, they're the saviors or delivering the information that will save the world, and their head puffs up and they get these, grandiose ideas about themselves.
Certain individuals do have actually positive, useful channeling happening to them. I've been doing the dream research where I get my dreams every morning since September 21st, 1992, pretty much every morning. And as of November 1996, I began having a telepathic communication take place using the protocols of remote viewing.
This CIA psychic warfare report is also important to note because the defendant publicly states on his website, spherebeingalliance.com, that he is all about psychic wars. To wit, Secret Space Program Aliens Psychic Wars with Corey Goode. See Exhibit BO Psychic Wars with Corey Goode, page 2 of 2. He then goes on to talk about being part of the interrogation programs. Again, this is standard terminology for CIA mind control, behavior modification research, and experimentation programs. See Exhibit AK, Project Bluebird. Mr. Goode also states in YouTube video titled Number 10, Exclusive Never Before Revealed Info About the Moon with Corey Goode, 1 of 2, posted to YouTube channel 90 Degree Turns, July 25th of 2019, see Exhibit BS on disc, that he used cathode diode panels for remote viewing and was forced to do psychic killings of others with the use of frequency-based technology around the 17-minute mark to the 18-minute timestamp in Exhibit BS on the disc. The defendant also further states the alleged aliens take humans, and especially women, for sex, intellectual intelligence, and as food. Mr. Goode states he has seen humans filleted open for alleged aliens to eat, which is more likely ritualistic human sacrifices being eaten by human cannibals. Exhibit BS, 19 minutes to 22 minutes and 30 seconds.
Wow, so is this used for galactic warfare there? What was the objective of using all these weapons?
Well,
because here on Earth we're pretty primitive in our weaponry.
Right.
So to hear this, some people might just be completely jaw on the floor.
I talked earlier about the slave trade.
Mm-hmm.
Before we developed our space program, Solar Warden, to police our own solar system, these ET groups, marauders would come in, they called them, would come in, and sometimes they would take an entire village out in a third world country. An entire village gone, and then off they go and into the slave trade. Mm. So we developed the technology to be able to defend our planet from these types of beings.
Okay.
But what happened was the cabal said, these beings really want our people.
Can make a deal.
Commodities. So they then started trading humans off themselves. They have people down with checklists, what do the ETs want? Oh, blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, whatever. Yeah, we can find some of those. And they make a list, and then they send out the lower groups that are in the human trafficking field that know nothing about ETs. They don't know anything about it. They don't need to. All they need to know is they need a blonde-haired, blue-eyed person of this description or whatever. So they snag them, and then the person ends up being brought up into one of these ships and sent and traded away.
So then what are they being used for?
Depends on the race. Believe it or not, there's the sex aspect. The women of this planet are seen as fairly desirable. But also, the men and women of this planet, we're great engineers. We're very intelligent engineers. They will take engineers off planet and trade them away, and they end up, designing and engineering for these ET groups as slaves. So they use them as actual slaves, and in some cases, they consume them.
That's food.
The way I found out about that was a pod was opened, and there were a bunch of dead bodies in it that had no hair. They'd all been cleaned, and they were filleted, and they were being sent off like meat.
The defendant also states he was/is a highly skilled intuitive empath that the military would loan him out to other sectors for use of his abilities. Exhibit BS, 15 minutes and 50 seconds to 17 minutes. With respect to how much Mr. Goode dream visits and remote influences plaintiff, this appears to be true.
And unfortunately, they put me in a very dark part of the program in the beginning where they were interrogating these beings, and then, most of the people that worked on this base were total sociopaths. They tortured these beings to get information out of them, and they had no soul. And they were bringing in these young, intuitive kids, and they liked to, kind of berate us and treat us badly because we were more kind of spiritual. We were the other side of the coin, and
balanced.
They just couldn't help it. So it was very rough. That was my first, almost around 10 months, and then they changed captains on the research vessel and occupation, and then that's where I spent the rest of my time assigned there. But they loaned me out all the time because intuitive empaths were highly desired, especially ones that had a good record. And those of us who were proficient, we were loaned out to other programs all the time. Even programs to where you do remote viewing and you touch, like a cathode diode type panels, like metal plates that you put your hands on, and then you go into your meditative state and project your consciousness through, and it amplifies. And they use that type of technology to get past etheric defenses for ETs and humans. And you even, when you're enhanced with that technology, you can kill people. You can affect their physiology.
Just with the energy of it all.
Yeah, you affect their physiology and make them stroke out.
Wow.
So they were doing hits. They had hit lists, and they had people sitting in their chairs just killing beings and killing humans.
In YouTube video titled Corey Goode on AI and Ascension, SBA Presents 90-Degree Turns, and premiered on October 14, 2019 on the defendant's YouTube channel Sphere Being Alliance. See Exhibit BT on disc. Mr. Goode discusses how the AI, artificial intelligences, take over a person's consciousness by invading the bioneural fields of humans or animals around the 6-minute and 20-second mark. He also states around the 8-minute and 30-second mark that entire groups of people can be impacted by these artificial intelligence frequencies to allow for consciousness takeovers.
Some of the UFOs that crashed, the 20s, 30s, 40s, they were actually plants by this AI god to crash high technology on our planet and boost our technological knowledge. Therefore, we would become a useful civilization to them quicker.
So, are you essentially saying that AI doesn't really have a home unless it's inside of technology? That would be its physical way of expressing itself?
Yes, inside of technology, it can inhabit, like I said, a person's or an animal's bioneural field, but it's not going to be able to, you have a machine, you have, impulses telling, certain parts of the device to do certain things. We have similar things with our body, our electromagnetic fields of our body, but with technology, they can completely control it, and they prefer it.
So that's where it finds its home, essentially?
Yes.
Okay.
A civilization develops technologically, then they develop to a point technologically to where they begin developing robots, synthetic beings, and once they develop those synthetic beings, planet after planet, it's like Battlestar Galactica. All of a sudden, the technology starts turning on the people, and the technology becomes self-aware and intelligent and taken over by this AI god, and then they now see us as a virus or They see us living out of harmony with the planet we're on. That does not compute. Why would something live out of harmony with its host? So they see us as something that should be eliminated. So they end up eliminating the biological life forms on their planet, and they become a bunch of just robots and synthetic beings that are inhabited by this mass consciousness AI. We call it AI for lack of a better word. Not all of different ETs, they don't refer to it as AI. They have different understandings of what it is.
This is exactly what is stated in the various CIA documents contained herein, and the patented frequency technologies that show which frequencies are utilized to accomplish this. Refer to Exhibits BE, BF, BG, BH, and BI. Additional information regarding artificial intelligence, or AI, technology, and neural network frequency overlay problems may be seen in California Court Case 3-2019 CV 02407, filed at U.S. District Court for the Southern District of California, December 16th of 2019, by Cyrus A. Parsa, CEO of the AI organization, against defendants such as Google LLC, Alphabet Inc., Neuralink Inc., DeepMind Inc., Elon Musk, and Ital. See the docket on justia.com. Mr. Parsa summarizes the case on page 3, see Exhibit BV, as follows. Seek. Endangering humanity with the misuse of artificial intelligence, complicity in genocide, and aiding in physical genocide inside of China by transferring AI technology, engaging in cultural genocide of humanity, and controlling and programming the human race by social engineering via AI coding and AI algorithmic biometric manipulation. Mr. Parsa's background is on pages 19 through 20, Exhibit BV. He is the founder and CEO of the AI organization Loyal Guardian Security and the Social Programming Institute with a bachelor's in International Security and Conflict Resolution and master's degree in Homeland Security. He is also an expert in China-Iran affairs and has consulted on human organ trafficking. This is important because Mr. Goode alleged his alien friends are involved in human trafficking and harvesting people. Refer to Exhibit BS on disc at 19 minutes to 22 minutes and 30 seconds. Human trafficking by Mr. Goode's alleged alien friends is of added concern given Mr. Parsa also states on page 5, lines 1 through 7 in Exhibit BV that those who practice the Falun Dafa or Falun Gong religion are notably part of the main groups harvested. The Falun Gong religion is important because Mr. Goode defamed plaintiff as a stalker on YouTube channel Edge of Wonder. See affidavit Alyssa Christie Montalbano for preliminary injunction filed August 2, 2019, page 14 of 23 at number 45. The two male hosts of the show/channel work for a major news organization called Epoch Times, which is an arm of the Falun Gong religion. Evidence will be provided upon request. Mr. Parsa will be sought to testify as an expert witness regarding artificial intelligences and their impact on humanity, and in particular the bioneural fields and how it alters biochemistry should it be required. See Exhibit BV, page 6. Narco-hypnosis. Defendant Associate Dream Researcher Mr. David Wilcock. See Exhibit BU on disc. YT DW Threats and Narco-Hypnosis. In the YouTube video titled Threats, Intimidation, and New Age Madness, Warped Podcast number 3, posted to Warped Podcast YouTube channel December 13th of 2019, Mr. Wilcock phones in to the Carrie Cassidy radio show during 2011, and he is literally crying because he received death threats. He also was extremely worried about being taken and having narco-hypnosis performed on him, the use of drugs and hypnosis to make a person behave differently and essentially wipe their mind, aka a CIA Project Bluebird style interrogation session, and also seen in all the exhibits contained herein. In 2019, Mr. Wilcock then stated the exact opposite on the Edge of Wonder channel, now claiming he was never threatened with the gun or the money. See Exhibit BU, timestamps, 14 minutes to 16 minutes.
It's online, and this particular individual was called by 2 different people. And one of them said, "Do you like David Wilcock?" That was how he started the conversation. And, he said that both of these people basically said the same thing, which is that I need to get part 2 of the article out tonight. They wouldn't go into detail, but I was told that that if I was tortured, that would be lucky, and that probably I wouldn't make it, but that if I get through the next 3 days, that I'll probably be okay, but that I would be much safer if I could get this information out tonight, because I was led to believe that if someone is going to come and talk to me and give me the gun or the money game where they try to buy me out or threaten me with death and maybe narco-hypnosis or something like that, mind control kind of things, I don't know, but that basically all I have before that team could show up here is tonight. So I felt like, I'm sorry for crying.
No, David, we're with you, and really, it's okay. You are surrounded by incredible light.
How the hell have I been doing this for 25 years and I'm still alive if they're so good at this? If they're so good at threatening people, stopping you from talking, playing the gun or the money where they got a fistful of $100 bills in one hand and a gun in the other, and they say, "I'm not leaving unless I give you one of these 2 things." That's never happened to me, And I'm a very prominent person exposing this stuff with millions of followers like you guys.
Here, we can see Mr. Wilcock is either, or both, a pathological liar and or he was taken and had his behavior modified, likely via narco-hypnosis, as he was concerned of happening in 2011. This type of switching behavior makes perfect sense with someone who is a victim of successful behavior modification. Mr. Wilcock's dream research and work is also noted to have proverbially gone downhill after this particular year, 2011, and he began to start peddling propaganda more and more. See Exhibit BE, page 30, paragraph 3, instead of legitimate research, which is the point to successful telepathic or otherwise behavior modification in conjunction with hypnosis, neuroscience, and drugs. 15. LOC HAK 452-1-2-6 CIA document, the White House Washington Memorandum for General Haig. Exhibit BK, Memorandum Psywar. This is another released top-secret document dated September 4th of 1972 that again shows the awareness at the top levels of the government of the psychic warfare, aka Psywar, campaigns being used, and, to wit, as I mentioned briefly on the phone, Helm's people are still thinking ahead to new steps we can take to turn up the heat in our Psywar campaign. These few documents of literally thousands available on the CIA website, many notably released around 2000, show that many factions of our government work with, utilize, research, and develop methods of PSI, and they work to keep these covert programs top secret, so much so that even other divisions within the government itself are unaware of the other division's existence unless they have top secret clearance. These programs work or worked with many top-level universities, factions of the government, and prestigious scientific research centers, all seeking to resolve the scientific nature behind PSI abilities in efforts to harness those to gain full control, mind control, over people. With the advances in science today and plaintiffs' current research of such, essentially psychic or PSI abilities appear to largely be equated with frequencies and neuroscience. 16. CIA document development of a remote PK switch. Exhibit BL remote PK switch. PK stands for psychokinesis, and this is basically a program where it is shown that mental thought can change electronic frequencies of microchips and other electrical-based equipment, which essentially places all electronics and computers at risk, as these can be impacted by focused mental thought alone. See page 28 of Exhibit BJ for more details on this being accomplished. Again, with the basic analogy of the brain being like a radio transmitter, electrical signals, oscillations, and hertz can interfere with other electrical signals, and this has been clearly proven to be successful and repeatable without any special psychic abilities. 17. CIA document Controlled Offensive Behavior, USSR. See Exhibit BM. This is a report prepared for the Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, by the U.S. Army Office of the Surgeon General Medical Intelligence Office, September 1975. This report is about psychotronic generators. Also see Exhibit BE on page 29. On page 34, at paragraph 3, it states, a recent newspaper article quoting Pavlita reported that his generators could serve as weapons. No further details were given. No information is available on Czech efforts to develop psychotronic weapons, but Pavlita has stated that some forms of his devices can exert both favorable and unfavorable effects on living organisms, including man. In experiments with snails exposed to the energy from a generator, a state similar to hibernation resulted. When flies were placed in the gap of a circular generator, figure 6, they died instantly. In another test, Pavlita aimed the generator at his daughter's head from a distance of several yards. Her electroencephalogram, EEG, changed. She became dizzy, and her equilibrium was disrupted. This is a very important paragraph in this paper, as this is the same effect that U.S. Patent US 6017302A, as obtained in 1997, Exhibit BF, Voice to Skull, causes on subjects when the prominent 2.5 Hz frequency is broadcast to the cutaneous sensory pathways or vestibular pathways. The vestibular pathways are part of the ear/auditory networks, which again are the hallucination networks of the brain associated with dementia and schizophrenia, and are the sections of the brain also responsible for physical balance. Mr. Goode's alleged alien friends and experiences are more likely illicit interrogation sessions with amoral doctors exploring frequency broadcast hallucinations, mixed with drugs and hypnosis, and for which Mr. Goode appears to be regularly experimented upon and monitored, and for which Mr. Goode appears to be attempting to perform the same illicit behavior modification or mind control experiments upon plaintiff via the delta, theta, and alpha frequency neural states. 18. Chart of terms used by defendant match neuroscience. Lastly, the following are terms the defendant uses in his fraudulent dream teachings that he alleges as spiritual, secret space program whistleblowing, time travel, or alien experiences, and that fit more with the covert and illicit CIA mind control programs. The first term we have is Ra. The defendant says that is the religious law of one with bluebird gods. See Exhibit BN, page 7 of 24. The CIA defines it as remote action for telepathic mind control. Also see CIA Project Bluebird. Exhibit AK filed February 27, 2019, and Exhibit BD, page 1, letter B, number 2, and page 2, letter C, number 2. The next term we have is SSP. The defendant defines it as Secret Space Program, 20 years into the future and back, with heavy electromagnetic fields. See Exhibit BO, page 2 of 2. The CIA defines it as Scientific Services Program. See the Army, DoD, and Army Neuroscience and Similar Research at www.arl.army. The next term we have is Blue Avians, Alien Birds. The defendant defines them as 8-foot-plus tall bluebird aliens that visit him and communicate with him and others in dream states. See Exhibit BN, page 11 of 24. The CIA defines it as CIA Project Bluebird for mind control through interrogation sessions. There's also MyLab, the military abductions, where people are made to think they are with aliens for experiments. See Exhibit AK, filed February 27, 2019, and Exhibit BE, Telepathic Behavior Modification, and Exhibit BC, Senate Hearings for MKUltra. Next we have dreams. The defendant says this is where his alien friends visit him and other people to teach or train them. See Exhibit BN, page 3 and 11 of 24. The CIA defines it as CIA Telepathic Behavior Modification for Obliteration of Consciousness. RI for remote influence, RV for remote viewing, and all forms of PSI research in conjunction with 0.5 Hz to 4 Hz and 10 Hz frequencies. See Exhibits BE, BF, BG, BI, BJ, BK, BL, and BM. Next we have the elixir of Isis. The defendant says it's a mind-altering substance ritually taken with aliens. See Exhibit BN, page 7 of 24. The mind control definition would be CIA using illicit drugs for mind control, typically LSD and or scopolamine, to abduct victims for MyLab experiments. See Exhibit AK, Project Bluebird. Next we have temporal dementia. The defendant says it's a result of time travel in SSP programs and their use of the heavy electromagnetic fields. See Exhibit BQ on disc. With neuroscience, the temporal lobe and temporal poles of the brain are part of the auditory network that cause hallucinations in mental health patients. It's also an area of neuroscience research, and dementia causes inappropriate social behaviors. Next we have aphasia. Corey says it's memory loss due to time travel from placement in high electromagnetic fields. Again, see Exhibit BQ on disc. Neuroscience defines it as part of dementia, and it is a speech impairment and memory loss due to damage to the brain. Next we have electromagnetic fields. Corey says it's memory issues and brain trauma from time travel using intensive electromagnetic fields and drugs, and he also claims it's responsible for his back, body, and other mental health issues. See Exhibit BN, page 12 of 24. In neuroscience, electromagnetic fields are used for EEGs, MEGs, and etc. for neural scans to determine brain function or impairment, and it's used in behavior modification programs by the CIA to alter brain states and the nervous system function and to monitor test subjects. See Exhibit BE, page 1, paragraph 1, and Exhibits BF, BG, BH, and BI. Next we have solar flare. Corey claims it has to do with the sun and solar flashes. In neuroscience, flares are part of neuroscan medical language to show abnormalities in the brain. Next we have seeing spots and shapes. Corey says it's alien visits and higher density experiences. See Exhibit BN, page 10 and 11 of 24. According to the CIA Mind Control Electronics, it's part of multiple U.S. patents involving nervous system manipulations and side effects and can include holograms. Exhibit BF. Next we have egg-shaped chairs for telepathic communication and or sleep. Corey says the aliens use them to access the neural networks to communicate with others. See Exhibit BN, page 3 of 24. In the CIA mind control programs, neural networks, and sleep-wake states for obliteration of consciousness and full control of subjects are the main areas of neural and nervous system research for behavior modification or mind control. Again, see Exhibits BE, BF, BG, BI, BJ, BL, and BM. Next, we have retired CIA personnel in Colorado for SSP moon meetings. Corey says these are secret space programs, CIA, and military in Colorado that meet with him regularly, allegedly on the moon, and where he outed others through interrogation, mind control extraction sessions. See Exhibit BN, page 12 of 24. These retired CIA personnel are more likely CIA interrogation teams monitoring Corey's neural networks, the impact of hypnosis for MyLab-based mind control, and monitoring his behavior modification progress in the state of Colorado, coupled with electronic devices placed throughout his home for neural and nervous system observation. Just see all the exhibits herein from the CIA website. These are just a few examples of how the defendant deceives the public with his propaganda and fake dream teachings. This evidence suggests Mr. Goode is both a victim of and actively peddling a mind control program for covert intelligence interests. The evidence also says Mr. Goode has specifically targeted plaintiff in dream states to experiment on her and to obtain her coveted information. It is unclear without legal investigation what exactly is occurring, and the evidence must be investigated to find the answers that make sense with such. Therefore, with respect to the aforementioned CIA and other government intelligence-based agencies, funded covert militaristic programs, advanced technologies, patented frequencies, and the defendant's public claims, it is unclear without legal investigation if the defendant is an elaborate con man or an ongoing victim of CIA-based mind control programs involving plaintiff, and for which the evidence contained and cited with specificity for response in the pre-litigation affidavit complaint must be legally and lawfully addressed by this court and the defendant. Respectfully submitted and all rights reserved. Plaintiff Alyssa Christie Montalbano, American citizen. So be sure to subscribe to Deprogrammer channel, click that notification bell, like and share. Thank you for watching and listening. This is your host, Ari Stone, signing off.